Chris Jenkins with Charlotte Vibe, joined today with Carolina Panthers Bill Voth. Did I get it right?
No, it's Voth.
Bill Voth of the Carolina Panthers Friday afterthoughts on the Carolina Panthers victory over the Minnesota Vikings. And Bill, as I look back at this game, I feel like the coaching staff deserves some credit because this game had some back and forth. We were able to pull it out. On the offensive side, Cam Newton targeted 11 different wide receivers. We had some really big running plays, some long scores. On the defensive side, we had 3 turnovers from this game.
Yeah, Minnesota's really good, and I really like Mike Zimmer, Minnesota's head coach. And let's be honest, I think the Panthers got a little bit lucky yesterday. Minnesota did not play well, but I think most people in the stadium were concerned, at least the people not wearing purple, were concerned yesterday when the Panthers blew that 11-point lead. So yeah, I do think Mike Shula called a really good final drive. Obviously that helps when you have a quarterback like Cam Newton, but they tried to go to the run early in that final drive. They gave Christian McCaffrey a carry coming off of that play where he thought he should have caught the ball, which turned into an interception, but he gained 5 yards, and then obviously Cam made that incredible move to get himself open, and 62 yards later the Panthers were set up. But yeah, I think everyone deserves a lot of credit for winning here yesterday, but also I think you got to give luck some of the credit to him.
A little bit of luck. Now, Cam got his dog back, Greg Olsen, yesterday. 0 catches. And also, I want to talk about the wide receivers going deep. You know, to our speedy guys, I know we've thrown some deep, I wouldn't say mid-range passes, but what are your thoughts on the Greg Olsen on the deep pass to those speedy guys?
Well, Greg was bracketed a lot yesterday. Now, perhaps that had something to do with him doing that game a couple of weeks ago and Minnesota really not wanting him to be able to do anything against them. But while
I like that.
While Ron Rivera just said that, yeah, Greg was open a good number of times and maybe Cam didn't see him, Minnesota was putting a lot of coverage on him and bracketing him a lot. As far as deep balls, that is still something that this offense is missing. Obviously, with Curtis Samuel out, they're expecting someone like Kalen Clay or Demir Bird to come through. Demir yesterday actually led the team with 5 receptions, but I think it was only a total of 37 yards. He went
pretty bad average.
Yeah, he went deep once. That ball really wasn't close to being caught, but as Ron said, that did perhaps open some things up. You at least have to give the threat of that. Kalen Clay was struggling with the shoulder yesterday, so they pulled him in about the 3rd quarter. He didn't get many snaps, but if the Panthers have any realistic expectations of making the playoffs and or going far in the playoffs, they've got to figure out how to get a vertical game going.
Back, one question about Greg Olsen. Do you really think Cam didn't see him? I mean, that's his guy.
Well, the thing is Greg and most receivers, elite receivers, always think they're open. So, of course, Greg thought he was open a lot more than he probably was. But it's probably in the middle of all this. He probably wasn't as open as Ron thinks he was or as Greg thinks he was. And he probably didn't miss him as many times as perhaps Ron was hinting at.
Okay. Now, me and you were lucky enough to go into the locker room after the game. And in the locker room yesterday, there was a lot of excitement. You had guys dancing, you had music blasting, and I like that. I think everybody gets reminded about how they were in 2015 with that Super Bowl run. I feel like this team has a really good chance for some success going on. I want to get your thoughts on the playoffs and how do you think that might play out for this team?
TBD, man. You look at that NFC right now, and it is impossible to predict. You got the #1 seed as of right now, Philly, but now Carson Wentz is out. Are the Rams? What are they going to look like once the playoffs start? And then who knows what's going to happen in the NFC South? I think we all know the Panthers have flaws. I just talked about one of them, which is it's just not being able to really go all that vertical. Over the last 5 games, they've given up 5 plays of 50-plus yards, where in their first 8 games they gave up no plays like that. So the defense is really giving up a lot of big plays right now, which might be a little concerning. So there's concerns, just like every team. Every team has flaws. The Panthers have flaws, but sitting here right now, I think it's still way too early to really get a good gauge on just how far they would be able to get if they get to those playoffs.
How optimistic do you feel about their performance?
They beat the best team, or one of the best teams in the NFC yesterday. But again, they needed some breaks. But you know what? If they didn't play so poorly in New Orleans, they probably could have won that game down in New Orleans. That's why so many of these teams are so even, and that's why I think you saw a lot of the joy that you saw yesterday was that
relief. Was that more relief?
Well, it's also just like so. I mean, if so many things don't go your way, then you're in there and you're not celebrating. If the defense doesn't make that goal line stand, then they're in there, and we're talking about so many other different things, and people people, the sky is falling today because now they're on a 2-game losing streak, and that the bottom of the NFC playoff standings, they're really in a mess. Then right now we're not sure just yet. But now if they didn't make that goal line stand, who knows what we're talking about here today, right? So I think it's there's reasons to be happy, but it's such a fine line in the NFL where you could be on that other side.
Any given Sunday, right?
Exactly.
Well, I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like the video, leave your comments below. Anything that we hadn't discussed today, we'd like to get back at you. Thanks so much for watching. For Bill Voth.
Yeah.
I get it right?
You did. Everyone says Voth, so I usually go by that too.
Mr. Bill, thanks for watching.